Guys, I need you to do something, okay? I need you to like the video, okay? It's going to mean the world to me if you do it. I would appreciate it so much. Anyhow, let's just jump into it. Hey guys, my name's Steven. Thanks for tuning in. So, today we're going to be talking about what it takes to become a professional musician and everything surrounding that, like the sacrifices you make, the situation that we're in now as a pandemic and things like that. Last video we talked about, the cost of school, how expensive it is, and whether a college or conservatory is the right thing for you to be doing. So, with that in mind, let's just face the reality of the situation. Music, the music industry as a whole has never been in a more challenging position, really. And I remember when I was deciding to go into music as a career that it was already challenging enough to justify a lot of those reasons, the costs and things like that, just for my want of being a musician. And I can only imagine that that's even more challenging for you right now. So I'm going to just be frank with you. The music industry is just at an all-time low. Schools are looking for a way to justify such a high tuition when you're sometimes not even going into the school because of the virus. So it only makes more sense for you to have more information for yourself so that you can really, when you make these decisions, that you really know exactly what you want to be doing and you feel confident about going into it and all the risks that come with that too. So something that has come out of the pandemic, it's actually been a very positive thing for orchestras, is the fact that it's made us more creative. I think is kind of a kick in the butt that we all needed, was that there's more of a focus now on just reaching out to the community as a whole, and for the community to get an idea of who we are as musicians and as people more, which I think was a really cool thing. There was a lot of initiatives through the orchestra that I play with or other orchestras where you're trying to see the day in the life of each musician and what their life is beyond playing their respective instruments. So I would challenge you to have the same mindset, because you have so many tools at your disposal to create this community, to share your experience and what you want to be doing to other people, that the idea is that you want to be more reliable on yourself and more independent, because you can't necessarily trust that these organizations are out there for your benefit 100% of the time. So the more that you can create the community for yourself and that you can share your experiences, I think the better off you're going to be. So just keep that in mind, and let's move on. With all this information, it really just comes down to a handful of things of what the life of a musician really is like. So putting the work in and day out is so important. For any craft that you're trying to improve on, you have to be in the room, in the practice room, day in and day out, putting multiple hours, both physically and mentally. Once you're out of that practice room, your day doesn't really stop. You still have to stay in the world of music, which is my next point. But as a trombone player, I find myself especially when I was a student, I was practicing 3-4 hours a day at my undergraduate, and that was just the work that I felt like I needed to put in to improve on my instrument. And that's kind of the expectation when you're at these schools, and also that's the expectation that you get when you're in an orchestra. I'm continually practicing. I would say out of a whole year, I probably take maybe a week or two off at best. So just keep that in mind. You will have to continually work and be putting that physical effort in every single day. So what do I mean by staying in the world of music? Say you practice 2 or 3 hours a day. By the time you're out of there, you still need to immerse yourself in the music culture. That means listening to classical music. That means, score study, or playing duets with friends, or, even just reading articles about where the music industry is as a whole, auditions, things like that. The more you can stay in the world of music and the things that are going on, the more you're going to be able to feel more cultured in that sense. And that leaves you to having a better advantage over the people who are just practicing and then leaving it mentally, spacing out. Also, with staying in the world of music, you can space out your practice instead of, hitting two or 3 hours in the morning and just leaving that be and be like, okay, I practiced for the day. Maybe do an hour in the morning, maybe an hour in the afternoon, an hour in the evening. That way your day is encapsulated, or your day is feels more like it's all about music and what you're doing as a whole. And I feel like that's beneficial. So that goes into the next point of just prioritizing your craft. A lot of times you're going to find, that this could mean as something as small as not hanging out with your friends for the day. And it can mean as something as big as, say, you need to go to a music festival for the summer, you get accepted. You might have to, leave a summer job. You might have to leave plans with family or friends in order to go to this music festival. And you actually might be going in the red, losing money, because you're paying for an experience to further your craft. So that's another sense of prioritizing, not just emotionally, maybe like away from family and friends, but also financially. For a lot of these music festivals, you have to pay a certain amount to even be there. And of course, the travel and things like that. So just keeping that in mind, that you have to seek out these experiences for yourself, and that requires prioritizing. The next thing is talking about the sacrifices that you make, kind of going hand in hand with prioritizing, but you're most likely going to be away from a lot of comfort. And what I mean by that is, for instance, I grew up in Georgia all my life. I lived in Kennesaw, Georgia, and at some point I left it all to go to New York and study for 5 years there. I left my friends, I left my family, all in order to, learn about my instrument and be more in the culture of what I wanted to do. So that's a sacrifice, and it's a big sacrifice that even today I'm still making. I moved down to Sarasota, Florida, where I don't have any family or friends that I have from Georgia or even New York now that are really, or that are here. So I'm going where the work's going, and if my family's not there, then that's just that. I have my grandma here, but other than that, I don't really have my parents or my brothers or anything like that here, and sometimes that weighs on me. So, we continue to make those sacrifices, and I'll let you know if that ever changes. Now, for the last point, your bottom line, like I said in the other videos, is that your goal is to be independent as a musician and as a person. So you really aren't successful until you're paying your bills. You want to be working enough in the freelance scene, or auditioning enough to, getting into an orchestra or something like that, where you can pay your rent, pay your, groceries and everything like that, and be self-sustaining. That's really what you're using this time for at your undergrad or your master's, is that you're preparing yourself to be more independent and to be as ready as you can when that day comes. So, the story I talk about in regards to this is that, when I was a junior at my undergrad, I was doing fairly well. I was having some engagements with the Atlanta Symphony. I was freelancing a little bit here or there in New York, and I felt pretty good about my trombone playing. I was accepted to some music festivals and things like that, so I felt good. And there was a placement audition that was coming up in, over the Christmas break at MSM, at the Manhattan School of Music, and I didn't play well. I kind of flubbed a lot and made a lot of mistakes. And I remember having the lesson after that, and my teacher, Mr. Finlayson, at the time, he was like, "Hey, what was that? What happened?" And I was like, I don't know. I just made a lot of mistakes. And he's like, "Well, what did you do over the break?" I was like, "Well, I mean, I played mostly every day, but I took a couple days off, it was the break, and but I played some days." And he's like, "Wait, what? You took a break?" It's like, "Yeah, I mean, it's Christmas break." And he was like, "No, you can't afford to take a break. You're too young to do that, and you're not successful enough to be doing that. Can you pay your bills? Can you do these things? Be self-sufficient?" I was like, "No." He's like, "Then that's not enough." He's like, "You are too young to be taking a break. You're too young to think that you're, outwardly successful in that sense. And until you're able to sustain yourself, you're really not where you want to be." And that goes for any career just as much as it does for music. But really at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're aware of these types of things that you need to be doing day in and day out as a musician, and the sacrifices that come along with it. There's a lot of greatness to it, of course. You know, you being able to perform and do something that you love is really important, but there's always going to be downsides to that I want you to be aware of. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate all the love and support. Make sure to check out the website. You know, reach out to me if you have any questions or anything like that, and leave a comment about what you'd like to see in the next video, or if you guys have any questions. I'll make sure to respond to you guys and you know, get back to you. I'm here for you. I'll be doing a live stream pretty soon where I'm just going to be playing through the campaign, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War campaign. It's going to be a lot of fun, and you can ask me anything. So check out for that pretty soon. Either way, stick with it. Stay with the process. I'll catch you guys later.